Hello travelers, and welcome to July 11th 2018. Jupiter went direct yesterday, 13 Scorpio. It has been, I think, retrograde since I want to say March, and it will continue to pick up speed where it'll get back to, I want to say, 23 degrees Scorpio as it gets ready to transit out of Scorpio and into its ruling sign of Sagittarius. And I want to say at the end of October, November, Mercury has started to slow down. We're going into our second Mercury retrograde for 2018. It started on the 7th. There's a 2-week time frame before. Then it spends about 3 weeks retrograde, and it will be retrograding in the sign of Leo. So for you fire signs, I've got an article coming out for you website members about how that may affect in the element of fire. But wherever Leo sits in your chart, and Leo has to do with rulership, kings, queens, princes, princesses, heirs to the throne, spares to the throne, children. So this could be nieces, godchildren, adoption, in vitro fertilization, foster children, your own children, children's projects, children's education, sex, courtship, the court itself. So those people who hang around you, or that who are part of your group. And so we can always expect some kind of slowdown in terms of perhaps projects and communications and even travel. Let's say, for instance, you have Leo on the 9th house, so this could be some idea that there may be some kind of mix-up or delay if one of your children are going back to college. Even if you yourself are trying to go back to college, there could be some mix-up and delay, paperwork. So you want to be cautious in signing contracts if you can. Honestly, we know that we cannot stop living due to retrograde planets, but what you can do is sometimes if you can't move ahead or move forward, then use that time to go back over and tweak some things, review some things, revise some things, pull out some old projects that you put aside that you thought weren't any good. Go back over them, dust them off, and you're going to have an 8-week time period to kind of look these things over. And then we have our new moon occurring in Cancer tomorrow, along with the partial solar eclipse. Now we have a total lunar eclipse because eclipses come in pairs on I want to say the 27th of July, and that's a day after Mercury comes out of retrograde phase. No, it's a day before it goes, because it's a day after Mercury actually goes retrograde. Okay, so there's a lot of planetary hubbub happening, and so I always speak to you about new moons are time to begin things, new things, end old things. It's going to be kind of tricky falling with this Mercury retrograde and with the eclipse, because eclipses can tend to hide things. You may not have all of the information that you need, so do plan for that. You may have to actually make decisions and operate in the blind. Do take your time. Mercury is there to kind of slow things down for you so that you can actually take your time making these decisions should you need to. The truth may be that you may not be able to take your time. You may have to make a decision quite quickly, but do know that you can always perhaps change the terms and conditions or work it out into your favor. That's what Jupiter is all about. Now, I'm going to first, and I want to thank those of you who have come over and for the one-day access. I hope you liked it. I think you did, because a lot of you came over. And I'd also want to thank you guys who have come in and jumped in on my new product, the Conjure reading. The stories are really great. And I like doing the research to put together the information that you need to do all of your cleansings and your protections and dressing your candles and using the different herbs. So that is to help you become more proactive in what it is that you need to do to kind of help yourself. Sometimes what we need is a bit of confirmation, and we need a bit of extra spiritual strength, mental strength, emotional strength. And so those things can help you. So again, I want to thank you for that. I should have done that reading a long time ago. So anyway, I have a message for Dolores Martinez. You contacted me about an Akashic Records reading. I have written you back. So if you haven't gotten that email, please check your spam folder. Gmail doesn't sit well with a lot of other kind of mails. So sometimes if you don't add my email address to your address book, it will send things to the spam folder. So please check your spam folder. Now, we're going to just use, what are we going to use? The Radiant White cards. I pulled these out again. Something is telling me to. We have the La Vida Sibilas. I have the Neapolitans. And I also have the Heart Oracle Tarot. For some reason, I was guided to pull this out for this eclipse. We're going to do a crossroads, which is going to be a 10-card spread. First card down will be our situation, and then we will go from there. Okay? Here we go. Oh, there it is. Our moon. Well, a lot of you are perhaps maybe feeling a bit on edge, emotional. Maybe you don't even understand where this is coming from. I think others of you might have a bit of, I don't know, anxiety about this eclipse. Those of you who know about eclipses, those of you who have been watching me for a time. By the way, welcome new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining. Let's get the rest of the cards down. 9 of Coins and the Ace of Wands. 2 of Swords, 6 of Coins, and there's that Hanged Man. Well, we do have a major transit, Neptune in Pisces in his ruling sign. So we have 2 representations of the moon here. 2 of Cups, 3 of Pentacles. Well, here's a King of Cups has presented himself. And the Ace of Swords. Wow. Here is our Knight of Wands. Now, those of you who've been with me a while understand that I read the Knights as events. But most definitely, events are typically precipitated by either you hearing something or something occurring that causes to puts things into motion. Now, this is also our Leo card. It's actually can be any fire sign. So this is Leo, Gemini, and or Sagittarius. The spread is weighted towards more so the coins. Because I have 1, 2, 3 coins. I only have 1 Wands card. I have 2 swords. I have 1, 2 cup cards. And I have 2 major arcana cards. Well, isn't that interesting? Let's get started with this. The first card down, the moon card, is our situation. This is where we are right now. So this is either the timing of the situation, or it is about fears that you may have, or subconscious things coming up, or emotions coming up to the surface. This is why I always try to caution you not to make any major decisions if you can help it when the moon is in play, because it tends to make things a bit more emotionally charged, either good or bad. Okay. But the moon is the fastest moving body in the sky. So every 2.4 days it changes sign. So it's going to be moving on here in a couple of days. Okay. But still, it's occurring across this, what do you call it? This eclipse. Now, the Nine of Pentacles has presented itself. Let's see. I have 2 2s and 2 aces. The Nine of Pentacles. This second row, the two cards, Nine of Pentacles with the Ace of Wands. This is the effect or the timing, okay, in terms of how long will this last. So the effect is that something, for some of you, although I think you are fearful, you are in effect kind of, that card, the Nine of Coins, is a card about staying grounded, being practical, doing those things that are necessary, that you know you need to do, paying attention to the details so that you can kind of move forward through this. And in doing so, you're going to be able to accumulate and or accrue. Now, this may be a financial issue for some of you, okay? This could also be the idea of having worked on something for yourself for quite some time, some kind of goal that you have wanted to, and you are near the attainment of it. So you're being asked to maintain your focus, pay attention to the detail, don't get distracted. It also speaks to the idea of being independent and standing on your own 2 feet. Behind this is this Ace of Wands. Now, this Ace of Wands, aces are opportunities. They are, they speak about your drive, your focus, your ambition. What does it take for you to go out there every day and do whatever it is that you do, you know? And I think that some of you just get up and go out and do those things that you're supposed to do. And this Ace of Wands comes in to support this Knight of Wands. So I do feel that through this eclipse period and the Mercury retrograde, because this is something in Virgo. Virgo is ruled by the sign of Mercury, okay? And so what you don't want to do is get stuck with, you don't want to get stuck in the details, but you want to pay attention to the details. So I do feel that for some of you, some event or message or news comes in, and it presents you with an opportunity. And I think it's something that perhaps you've been working towards for a long time. I have seen the Nine of Coins show up to say that you're going to gain the recognition that you've been striving so hard for. But yet there's a question here. And I think it is the timing of it that makes you unsure about what you should do. There's our Two of Swords. And remember, swords are thoughts, perceptions, belief, ideas, communications. The 2 says that there's a choice that needs to be made. There's some kind of duality. There's something that I either think I don't see, or I don't see, or I haven't heard, or, you know, I don't know what to say, therefore I don't know what to do. So even an indecision, even not making a decision, is also a decision. I do feel that this has to do with some kind of, it's definitely some kind of partnership. I'm not going to lie. The 2-2s speak to an engagement, a wedding, and a commitment. Now, some of you may not be in the market for getting married, right? So let's say that you've been out looking for a new job and you've been sending out your resume, so to speak, and all of a sudden you get this message or this news that comes in. You want to go in because everything looks good. You want to sign that particular contract. That is a commitment. I know some people who have been at their job for 30 or 40 years. That's longer than most marriages, okay? So you can look at that, you know, that saying, I'm married to my job, or I'm married to my work. So it's not just a romantic component, although I do feel for some of you it most definitely is. Now, for some of you, this could be the idea that someone is returning, but they're coming back under the auspices of the eclipse, the new moon, and the Mercury retrograde. Now, I always warn you that when people show up underneath the Mercury retrograde, particularly if it's an ex or somebody that you've dealt with in the past, they will not stick around long. It is like the universe is coming back to test you to see how far have you grown, what has changed for you in your life. So here's the test. I'm going to send this person back that made you feel like crap, that cheated you, that robbed you, that, you know, whatever, made you act like a complete idiot. And you don't understand why that was. Well, here they come again. Exciting, okay? It's going to be probably great and exciting to hear from some of them, okay? For some of you, But let's not lose our focus. I say that because here's Neptune. Neptune brings confusion. He brings illusion. He brings deception. Now, the question being, is this person back because they are back to do the same thing they did before? Or am I still not seeing that person clearly? Or I don't believe anything that person's telling me right now? So I have these two momentary pause cards here. I feel as though the person is coming back to offer you something. Okay? For some of you, this could be in the guise of financial help in some way. But the coins are not just about finances. It is the physical realm. So this is sex and food and drink. It is the actual doing of something. So this person could have in the past had someone else, or maybe at the time you had someone else when the person was around. Okay, and maybe you were the person who didn't see a way through this particular situation, some deception. Maybe you were deceiving yourself or causing an illusions and deceptions. But here's this Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups speaks to the kind of relationship, no matter what kind it is, where everything just gels. The energy is right. You're going in the same direction. You feel the same, you think the same, you can speak the same language. Sometimes this is the idea that you don't even have to say anything. The person knows exactly how you feel, right? And then we have this Three of Pentacles. Now, what's so interesting to me is this is our way through. We start with the 9 and we go to a 6. That means there's 3 coins missing here, right? 3 coins have shown up here. 3 coins are the start of something. 2 things coming together to make a third thing. So for some of you, this could be some kind of negotiated contract. This could be about a prenuptial agreement. It could be about a mortgage. It could be about a joint bank account. It is the idea that we're going to put our resources together, and maybe we need to go speak to somebody about the best way to handle this. And let's get our plans together. Let's go put this thing forward, get some expert advice so that we can go ahead and start building these things and figure out where we may need to cut corners or where we may need to shore up. That's that foundation. Here is this King of Cups. Now, for some of you, this person is going to be a water sign individual. There's a lot of Neptunian influence here, but Cancer, Scorpio, and or Pisces. Now, sometimes the King of Cups will show up as somebody who has to do with legality. So this person could be a lawyer or have something to do with, quote unquote, the law. He can be emotionally mature, extremely caring and kind and loving and giving, but conversely, he can be emotionally manipulative, moody, sensitive, can sometimes be quite cruel, can have addictions, drinking, sexual addictions. Everything's a damn addiction, right? In America it is, only in this country. So, and here's the Ace of Swords at the end. Now, 2 swords themselves speak to some kind of wedding commitment and or engagement. Again. But the thing about the Ace of Swords does represent a truth and a rationalization and intellectualization of things. Whenever I see that crown on the top, that always speaks to me like an engagement. But it's the opportunity. So I feel that for some of you in the past, this was somebody that you may have had a relationship with. Maybe you wanted to marry this person or be in a loving Two of Cups kind of relationship with that person. But for whatever reason, back up here, this 6 of Coins here, there was something off about it. This whole row here across the center, there was something off about it. And now it's as though the universe is saying, okay, I'm going to give you another chance at this. It's an opportunity now. I still say that there's something you don't know. I think some of you are going to be completely blindsided when this person shows up. You're not prepared. You're actually in another kind of a headspace. And you're there because you got some things you yourself are trying to work out during this time. And I always say that eclipses are a time to eclipse people and situations who are not in your highest good out of your life. Okay? You can literally close the door and walk away from those things. Where it's you learn to heal yourself. You look at the way things were, why those things happened the way that they did. Understand that it was a moment in time. You can close the door on that and heal it and walk away and walk into something new. This is our way through. So, what I want to do is I'm going to look at this Two of Swords. I'm going to look at this Hanged Man. And what I was about to say about the Ace of Swords, that yes, it speaks the truth, but sometimes this truth can be a painful truth. Yes, swords can cut both ways. So for some of you, this may be the idea that you are eclipsing this individual out of your life. Or at least that you have the opportunity. The person's going to perhaps show up or send you a message, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, what the hell did I see in that person to begin with? Same sex or heterosexual, whomever's going to take the role of this water sign, this water king here. Even though I will honestly say that this water king could be any sign per se. This could just be the idea that this is the person that held your heart. Alright? That's typically how he's known. Two of Swords. Bambino. Allegrezza al cuore. Most definitely. It's a new happiness that is coming from some kind of message or news. Now, the letter can be anything. These are 14th century cards. People didn't have cell phones and internet and all of that crap, so people did a lot of letter writing. So letters can the letter can mean any documentation. It can mean an email, it can mean a card, a written letter. It can even mean, in some cases, particularly in this particular deck, it can speak to the idea of a text message of some sort. Okay, it's definitely some kind of news that has come in, and again, it's something that you either are not aware of at the moment, or when you get the message, you don't quite know what to do. I would suggest that you check your spam boxes, people. You may find something there. Definitely this is going to be coming up, I do feel, within the next, for some of you, 2 or 3 days, all the way out until the end of next week, whatever date that is. This next 17 days. I'm going to actually put it out 14 days, 2 weeks. Yes, that's right. Right before the Mercury goes retrograde. Let's look at this Hanged Man. Now, for some of you, this is the idea of, do you want to go back into that situation again? Because that Six of Pentacles can be that idea of, along with this Hangman, of giving and giving and giving and not getting back anything that you put out of. Remember I said you're going to be getting the recognition. So this could be somebody who's coming back to say, you know what? I didn't appreciate what you did or how you were or whatever. And maybe that's all they're supposed to do. Okay? Donna Maritata, Letterato, and the Morte. This is interesting. What this tells me is that there was some a very serious relationship here, but I think one person was hesitant. They couldn't see it. The Hanged Man is about looking at things from a different perspective. I have this theory that there is freedom in commitment. When somebody loves you and they commits to you, and they commit to you, this is somebody who's got your back. and somebody who's supposed to walk with you, right? And vice versa. But we see that the Hangman put himself in this particular situation. I think for some of you, and I'm going to step out on a limb literally here, that the person might have a previous injury or an injury. It could be that Vulcan, those of you who Vulcan had a wife who, or girlfriend usually, who cheats on him. He may have some kind of limp or something wrong with this. It could be an old injury, not necessarily a birth defect. The person would work with their hands. Could be a welder or an artist, somebody who uses fire. But then there are many ways to use fire to be creative. They could be a chef, something of that nature. Okay. The 3 cards, the Donna Maritata, respect for the married woman. So I said either this person had somebody else or maybe you were already in a relationship. The discovery of that, and then the thing ending. And when it ended, everything just kind of went on hold. No matter which way this went. No matter which side of the coin you were on. I'm going to look at the 6 of Pentacles now. No, I don't need to. There's another card I need to look at. Let me see where they're telling me to go. They're telling me to look at the Ace. Costanza. Speranza. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. The truth of this situation, the thoughts, the ideas, the concepts, even the communication, I do feel that many of you have felt. I think some of you are getting the distinct psychic impression the person is starting to come back into your mind for some reason. Costanza, it is the immutability, it's the constancy of it. Okay? It's something that's permanent and unchangeable. That hope. Okay? Speranza, the hope. This card is also the fear. Remember, the sword cuts both ways. And there is the limineo, nuptials and contracts, and the highly spiritual nature of the couple. Look, if you haven't met anyone, the opportunity is there for you. But I honestly think this is somebody who's returning back. Now, for all of you, you know, this can't be for everybody, right? It can't be. Because I think for some, definitely somebody's coming back, but some of you are not going to be in the place to rekindle this. Okay? For others of you, you may choose to close the door on this chapter altogether. And then for others of you, I'm going to pull cards on this Knight of Wands here to see what information I can get out of this. I don't know if for some of you this is the idea that you get the message that somebody that you've been in love with is getting married. It can't be the same story for everybody. That's what readings are for. It's falling under the eclipse. The Lamante, female. The Lamika, the relationship of trust, a close confidant. And the Amalato. This is the woman who does not show her feelings. And this is the woman who can keep secrets. Now the Yamalato is, the meaning of the card is the visitor. So if I'm going to use what the actual meaning is, and the reason why I always call it the sick person is because look at the way the person looks. It looks like the visitor got there and the person got sick. That's why I always call it the sick person. But it actually means the visitor. Curiouser and curiouser. Well, formulate your question for the Heart Oracle Tarot. For some of you, this is the idea that maybe perhaps you will need to cut and clear. That's something that we talk about in the conjure reading. For others of you, this could be about the idea of gaining clarity. Do that one more time. For some of you, I think it could be the idea that you've been hiding. And what I mean by that is you've been wanting someone to come into your life, but you've been actually hiding, not being proactive. Because you have been hurt in the past? Well, haven't we all? There it is. And I was going to mention that Three of Swords. Remember there was a Two of Swords and the Ace? That's a 3. There it is. Sadness and isolation. See it? Where are you, swords? Here we go. The keywords are sorrow, disappointment, trust, and healing. Love can bring both joy and sorrow. When disappointment enters your life, it's important to acknowledge the accompanying sadness and feelings of loss. However, it's equally vital not to dwell on the loss. The temptation may be to isolate yourself from the world and cling to your grief. This card is a reminder to trust that this situation, as hard as it may be, is in your best interests. It's time to gently let go of the sorrow and disappointment. Indeed, for some of you, this is about closing, using this eclipse and this moon to step through into something new, a cut and clear. Sorrow can hold you back, or it can alleviate you to new levels of understanding. Focusing on your sadness and loss will prevent you from attracting new positive energy around relationships. So it's time to turn your disappointment into hope for the future. That's what we saw there at the end. Ask what lessons you can learn from the situation. Move beyond despair into healing and joyful love. Let go and move on. You have more powerful spiritual forces helping you than you could ever imagine. And the thing about the conjure reading, and I am going to plug that, is that sometimes we do need a bit of help moving through situations of loss and sadness and disappointments in love. And I can help you do that. You can be proactive in doing it. It's only going to work if you do it. And I've got the information to help you do that. So that's what I have for you. Thanks for letting me read for you. And I'll see you again soon. Namaste.